Welcome in on this Thursday. Good to be back home. Tigers get another ACC win. You realize that Penny Hardaway does not lose to that conference. 6-0 in his tenure here. That's pretty outstanding. And yet, after the Tigers win at Virginia, and I should remind everybody, Virginia had not lost at home this year. Last year, they lost 2 games at home the whole year. They lost to Pitt and to Duke. That was it. That's a home court advantage. Jack Jones Arena, which is named after the Memphian, the father of Paul Tudor Jones. And the Tigers were winners there, yet dropped in the net from 30 to 33. Clemson, the team they beat the last time out, lost in overtime to South Carolina. They actually went from 26 to 27. They're still ahead of Memphis. Go figure. The net is impossible to figure out early in the year. But Memphis is making its case. They've got 11 games played against either 1 or 2 quad teams. 7 wins against 1 and 2, 5 against quad 1. Unfortunately, Virginia is a quad 2 win. Could go up. I don't know. They seem to turn over the ball too much and can't shoot and score. But still on the road. And then so here comes Mississippi State. And even though the Bulldogs are not ranked, Ole Miss is ranked ahead of them, not in the net. Mississippi State is 19 in the net. That would be a very quality win. If the Tigers were to split the two, they would end up 10-3. Just sort of peeking ahead a little bit, and it's crazy to do this, and I'm not sure they do this everywhere in every market, but I think college basketball fans enjoy this. If Memphis were to, let's just say, go 16-2 in the conference, and I think that's what they have to do to preserve their seeding. If they go 16-2 and say split between Mississippi and Mississippi State, which is very reasonable, home games, then you would see the Tigers, let's say it would be 10-3 and 16-2, so that would be 26-5 going into the tournament. I would have to think you've got the shot, provided you at least got to your tournament final, because the last game on a Sunday, they've already figured it out. I would think you would be somewhere between a 4 and a 6 seed, and your ranking should follow suit. Obviously, that's a lot. We've already seen Memphis not take certain brands seriously enough. The loss to Arkansas State is one of those. And so will they take the conference competition seriously? That remains to be seen, but we will watch. The Tigers will take on Mississippi State. That is an 11:30 game on Saturday, but they've got themselves in position. P.J. Haggerty is worth the price of admission, ladies and gentlemen. He delivers every game, one way or another, whether it's a bunch of rebounds or assists or a couple of steals on defense last night. 27-5. That's 5 assists, 1 steal. He had 5 rebounds, too. And every time there was a key moment, especially when the Tigers had fallen behind by almost double digits, in the second half, he willed them back into the game. Critical free throws, just drives to the net with finger rolls. He was outstanding. And he seems to be the one guy that will deliver every game. There are going to be some games, it seems to me, where Kobe Rogers, who was like 1 of 11 last night, he's not going to be there. He was there the game before at Clemson. He was critical in that game. You're going to see even Tyrese Hunter. He's had off games. The game against Arkansas State, he was not very good. But it's PJ who seems to deliver every single night. And the Tigers are a second-half team. 43 last night. I would say, I haven't counted them up, but I would say somewhere around 45 to 48 points per second half. It's amazing how they turned it around in the second half, and to me, that points to coaching. They make adjustments at the half. They figure out what they want to do. They exploit whatever it is they found, and they come back, and they play great in the second half. The only one I can think of they didn't really do that would be the Arkansas State loss. It is outstanding stuff for sure. They were down by 11 in that game, 9 at the half. Terrible shooting. 12 turnovers, but they won the rebound and the fast break battle. They made the key plays down the stretch when it counted. I'm a little worried about the big guys in their hands. They cannot seem to catch a ball on the run, and they also miss. I don't know how many layups and dunks have been missed by these two guys, Moussa Cisse and Dane Danger, who had a double-double last night. But he could have a lot more if he hit bunnies. It's weird. It happened again last night, but they were able to win. One last thing, we got Pete Pranica coming. I should point out, Darian Newsom is on the board.
Sir.
Good morning. Thank you for filling in for Bryant. You got any quick thoughts on the Tigers' win last night?
No, you hit the nail on the head. They seem to be a second-half team for whatever reason, but the goal is coaching. I'm looking at the coaching, the additions to the bench as well as the subtractions, and I think that's definitely making a difference.
All right. We got to talk about the women because finally, remember Memphis, with the use of NIL, I think, was able to get this young lady from Michigan State, second team All Big Ten, a point guard who had one of the best ratios in the country last year. If you don't know what a ratio is, it's assists that you have per game contrasting with turnovers per game. So if you've got 3 assists and 1 turnover a game, that's 3-to-1 ratio. I forget what her ratio is, to be honest with you, but it was one of the leading in the nation last year. They get this young lady, and she was not eligible. There were transcript grades that did not carry over, so she had to basically sit out the first semester. She was finally eligible to play last night, and she's a difference maker. It is amazing. This is a little like P.J. Haggerty. One person can make a difference, an incredible difference for a team, and Dee Dee Hageman did last night. The Tigers lose to Tennessee. The final was 90-75. They led after the first quarter. This is a team that beat the last time they played. They hit 33s and won by 80 over a ball club. So their new coach, she does not take anything lightly. She doesn't mind killing people. By 80, they beat the last team they played. They were down by 1 at the quarter, or I should say Memphis was up at the first quarter. Second quarter, they were only down by 1, and then Tennessee pulled away, but only won by the 15. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists for Dee Dee Hageman, who clearly made Danielle Welch had a great game. Lasia Smith did not. She was bothered by the height inside. She's a really good player. But this young lady's going to make this Memphis basketball team a threat in the conference. I'm convinced of that. It's rare you see one player in basketball make that kind of a difference. Dee Dee Hageman did for sure last night. And so this will be fun to watch, plus 2 or 3 other players still missing for Alex Simmons' team, so they will come around. We got a busy show. Ron Higgins will join us. We'll talk college football playoff. It starts tomorrow night. Can't wait to talk a little bit about that. And then Jarvo, our Hall of Famer, will end our day. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio. A reminder now, we got the Christmas sale. How about a new pool table, shuffleboard, arcade game? They're all there, and those pool tables are state-of-the-art, I promise you. You can help them out on overstock of theater seating. They've been doing this now for a couple of sales. All price to move, all fire pits, 20 to 30% off. The place looks fantastic. It's Christmassy. Go check them out. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. And the Grizzlies are back at home tonight. They will take on the dreaded Golden State Warriors. You know, I just realized in the name Warriors is the name Golden State, but it's really golden because they've just been valued as the most sound, expensive, valuable NBA franchise at $9.14 billion. Pete Pranica, who's got that kind of money around in his pocket. This is crazy how much these things are now valued at. That's, by the way, the number one of all sports is the Dallas Cowboys, which is at $10.3 billion. So This isn't far off from just $1 billion from the number one NFL team. That shows you the value that these franchises are now for their ownership groups. Man, it's incredible.
It is incredible. New building. Obviously, you're in Northern California, Silicon Valley. You've got a lot of big money companies that are supporting you. And they've won championships. So you combine all those things together, and it's not unsurprising that the number is big. I didn't realize it was quite that big, but I mean all the franchises have gone up, and now with the new TV deals a year away and the expanded income that teams will get from that, it certainly stands to reason that the valuations are going up. But Golden State is certainly in a very enviable position, not only where they are geographically in terms of companies with a lot of money to burn and a lot of money to spend, and a brand new building. I mean, Chase Center, I don't care for it from a broadcast perspective because we're in a football-style broadcast booth halfway to the top of the building, and it makes it very, very hard to call a game properly. But other than that, it's a magnificent building with a lot of revenue-generating opportunities.
Welcome to my world, and I can totally appreciate your perspective because when Memphis played San Francisco, we were at the Chase Center, and we were in the Warriors radio booth, which is way up there, a little bit higher, a little more central, but a little bit higher than the location that we now have at FedEx Forum. So that seems to be where all of this is going. But by the way, Golden State $9.1 billion is higher than the Knicks, $8.3 billion. The Lakers are $8.07 billion. I did not see a number for the Grizz. I remember the last time though, it was I want to say I know it was over $2 billion. So it's probably gone up. Let's just say it's even $2.5 billion. All right. I remember Robert Parra got this thing for like $350 million. It hasn't been that long ago. He's made so much money on the acquisition of this team. That is really smart investing, huh?
Yeah, I don't know that anybody would have seen the explosion in franchise valuation. I think it started somewhat when Steve Ballmer basically bid against himself. And at that point, it seemed like it was a wild overpay for it was at $2-something billion for the Clippers, and now,
right.
If you have $2 billion, you can't even buy an NBA franchise.
No. Now, I think if those expansion franchises do happen, and they're obviously they always say Vegas and Seattle will get the two expansion franchises, and I know Commissioner Silver was just quoted in an ESPN interview that they are putting that on the little back burner, not until at least 26 will they start discussing it. But I do find it interesting. I think those two incoming franchises would probably be valued to begin with. Somebody's going to have to buy in for $3 to $4 billion, wouldn't you think?
I would think so, at the very least. And certainly that there's money in Vegas, and there's certainly a lot of money in Seattle as well, the Pacific Northwest, and a tremendous hunger for basketball in both of those markets. One of the dominoes that I think has to fall, and maybe why the NBA is pushing expansion back more than maybe we thought it would be, is that the Boston Celtics are for sale. Okay,
right.
So that I think where that number falls may well dictate what the expansion franchises would be worth. It'll be a sense of setting the market with a recent transaction, kind of like real estate. What are the comps? And that will be very intriguing to see when the Grauspick group eventually sells the Celtics, which, clearly because of the tradition, certainly is going to have to be valued somewhere in the neighborhood of where the Knicks are valued.
Well, if that's the case, you're talking about $8 billion. So that would be $16 billion. So you always have this dilemma as an owner. Do you want to start sharing the pot, which is pretty lucrative at that moment? It's shared now 30 ways. Is it worth sharing it 32 ways? And if you got $16 billion that you were divvying up amongst you, one-time deal, but still, if that were the case, that would be rather enticing, I think, to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy money. I think the league is trying to figure out their television rating situation, which it's not been as good as they had hoped. And I'm sure they were hoping for a glamour finals to the Emirates NBA Cup, and you get two small market teams in Milwaukee and Oklahoma City. Great game, two very good basketball teams, but not going to drive the eyeballs. Ideally, the NBA would like Knicks and Lakers or Boston and Lakers in a cup final, and it didn't happen.
No. Well, the Lakers won the year before, and you can see the impact on a star and a major market or a historical team like Boston, L.A., because I think the numbers were down 30% from the year before. But these things are different, and the Cup is still a relatively new entity. It's only its second year. I'm sure they will try for a third year. In the meantime, tonight the rivalry continues, and there's been a little bit of a contentious attitude between Golden State and Memphis, especially Draymond Green. Steve Kerr's had some comments about the whole thing. Now you spice it up a little bit with Dennis Schroeder, who got into it with Taylor Jenkins after the game when he was with the Pacers just a week ago. This is spicy, Pete.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure what precipitated everything when Brooklyn was in town and Schroeder was running his mouth. I think the Grizzlies, there was frustration on their part that they had lost two to a Brooklyn team they felt that they were better than. And, Grizzlies finally, got one against them. And Schroeder's been a pain in the Grizzlies. But it doesn't matter what uniform he's worn, whether it's been Atlanta or Oklahoma City or Houston or whatever. He's always been really, really good. So we'll see how it plays out. There was no discipline, at least that was publicly acknowledged in the wake of that little dust up. So it remains to be seen how it will play out tonight. This is a Golden State team, started out great on the road. They won their first five, had 115 points in all five of their first five road games. Since then, they're just 2-6 on the road. And things have gotten a little off track for them offensively and defensively. They gave up 143 points to Dallas in their last game. So it's a Golden State team that's probably in some bit of transition, but still a very dangerous team. The rivalry still exists as long as Draymond Green and Stephen Curry are on the other side. It's going to be a pitched battle for sure. And the Grizzlies are going to be smarting coming back from the loss against the Lakers, and a game in which they were very un-Grizzly like. And so I'm sure they're going to get that corrected tonight. And Grizzlies are one of the best home teams in the league right now.
Yeah, they've won 7 in a row, while Golden State has lost 8 of their last 10. Does Schroeder turn things around for them? And why do you think Schroeder, who I have always admired his game, why is he so well-traveled?
Brevin, who is also well-traveled, says because everybody wants you.
Huh.
Well, look, Schroeder brings you speed, brings you shooting ability, 3-point and 2-point range, good distributor of the basketball, tenacious defender, plays with an edge. He'll give Golden State a little bit more depth. Obviously, D'Anthony Melton had a season-ending knee injury. That's a body that you're not going to have. So, and Brooklyn is in more or less a rebuild mode, so they're happy to – everybody – it was an open secret that Schroeder was not going to be staying with Brooklyn the rest of the year, that he was going to end up going to a contender at some point, and Brooklyn may continue the tear down as we approach trade season. But he will take some burden off of Stephen Curry. That Curry can play off the ball if Steve Kerr decides to play those two guys together. Much the same way that, we saw sometimes John Morant and Scottie Pippen might be on the floor at the same time, or John Morant back in the day and Tyus Jones. Tyus would run the point, John could play off the ball. So you may see some of that from Golden State.
You mentioned how flat they were against the Lakers after beating Indy in a feisty game. Why do you think that was? The trip out there? What was the sense you got from it? They couldn't shoot, and Ja had a bad game.
Yeah, every once in a while you're going to have those nights where nothing goes right. I don't know if they were trying too hard, because you're in L.A., but let's give the Lakers some credit. They were in a position where they had lost, 4 of 5, and everybody's saying, what's wrong with the Lakers? And what's going on with LeBron? Why is he not here? Why does the injury report say sore foot? And why is the coach saying that it's a personal matter? What's going on? And the Lakers responded. They responded with fire, and Anthony Davis has always been a tough matchup for the Grizzlies, and he was a particularly tough matchup, Sunday night in Los Angeles. Is there one particular reason? I don't know. I'm also not a fan of flying 4 hours across country to play one game and then come back.
Right.
But hey, it's the hand you've been dealt, and why it was such a flat performance. Don't really know. Although they come back and make it, it's a 6-point margin at the end of the game, and they certainly just didn't let go of the rope as they did back in Game 6 a couple of years ago in the playoffs when they lose by 40.
All right, last thing. We saw at the end of that game the feistiness of Taylor Jenkins. Now, I must confess, I don't know Taylor Jenkins very well. I've admired the way he's always stayed calm. I thought mild-mannered, very plotting and tenacious, and maybe steel-willed, but certainly not combative like he was there. That was a different side of him. Is he that way behind the scenes? Is he really intense in practice?
He can be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he demands accountability from everybody, and I think in the course of the game, he demands accountability from the referees as well.
Yeah.
And there have been a series of plays where he feels that his players are being fouled and not being rewarded with a trip to the free throw line. And every good coach should stick up for his players. And Taylor has been, I think there's been some frustration building, even though the Grizzlies lead the league in and-one opportunities and conversions. I think there's been a sense that, the Grizzlies haven't gotten the best whistle. Whether that's true or not, it's all in the eye of the beholder. But Taylor's going to stand up for his guys. And he's going to demand accountability from the referees, and he's going to want an explanation. Okay, why was this not a foul? My guy's getting crushed into the stanchion, and there's no air in the whistle. Why is that happening? So, Taylor can be the most genial, coolest, fun guy to hang out with, but when the red line goes up, he can be intense for sure.
That was absolutely entertaining. I'm not so sure you could bleep out some of that stuff, though, unfortunately. But anyway, it was fun to watch. Pete, as always, we appreciate it. Happy holidays to you. We will talk to you next week after Christmas. How about that?
All right. Happy holidays, Wolo. Thank
you. That's Pete Prenick, the TV voice of your Memphis Grizzlies. He's brought to you by the good folks at Grind City, that wonderful downtown brewery we all love. I love going there. I love the picnic grounds outside where you can see the city lights. You can see the bridges. You really get a whole sense of the skyline. You also could have picnics. There's a venue there for concerts. But I like the product the best, which you can get right there because you can go in, buy your beer, buy whatever, and buy the newest. It's called Gator Patrol. It's a tangerine cream sour, perfect for the holidays. Sweet, tart, refreshing, with the perfect subtle balance of cream. Just a hint of cream. Balances out beautifully. If you like that kind of thing, tangerine cream sour. It's called Gator Patrol. That's the newest thing from Grind City Brewing. They will tell you, make it a happy holiday. We pause for a second. To Baton Rouge we go. Our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, is right around the corner.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, friends. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and it's crunch time now. But don't worry. Just because you waited till the last minute doesn't mean you're going to miss out on anything. At least not at Russell Brothers. We have a huge selection of the most magnificent jewelry you've ever seen. Whatever you think would please your lady, whether it's a pair of diamond studs or a stunning sterling silver bracelet or a 14-karat gold bangle, maybe a beautiful sapphire pendant or a spectacular gemstone and diamond ring. We've got anything your lady would want, and when you give her that gift, beautifully wrapped in a Russell Brothers box, you know you've given her the finest quality that's made. For 5 decades, Russell Brothers has been helping Memphis men be the smartest, sane, and possible. So if you want to give her a gift, She deserves it. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4636 Pine.
Exercise. The exercise couch is ready for you. Strength training only takes 20 minutes twice a week with special computerized exercise equipment designed to maximize your workouts and minimize your time. The exercise coach gives you personal workouts by one-on-one with a trainer. Check out the exercise coach at exercisecoach.com/Lakeland or exercisecoach.com/Lakeland. Injury or knowledge.
Hungry for a delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for the lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about the world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wolo said hello.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Grand. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls in Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Grand. Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
All we hear is Radio Gaga.
All right, let's head down to Baton Rouge. Our good friend Ron Higgins, fresh from his latest adventure on the seas, joins us now to talk a little bit about the college football playoffs. I want to start, though, with this, because I think you told me earlier Brian Kelly has been a part of this. But coaches now, and I don't know if this is being mandated by their bosses, but coaches like Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, Mike Norvell at Florida State, two coaches that were on the hot seat this year, they are giving a portion, and in the case of Norvell, it's I think half his salary, to the NIL. They're taking basically money from their pockets and putting it into the collective. Good morning, Ron. What's your thoughts on this new philanthropy?
Well, I mean, Brian Kelly a couple weeks ago said, we need to have more money, and we like a call to arms. And then he came back this past week and said, I said all that, and then I realized I need to put money where my mouth is, and so I'm going to donate $1 million to the NIL fund. I'm going to match up to $1 million. Anybody wants to match it, and so people have been pouring it in. He's going to match the $1 million, and simply it's because he realizes it takes a lot of money to get good players, and he makes a good salary, a great salary, and he realizes that, and so why not do that? I don't know if it's a grand gesture. I think it's needed. I think every coach should probably, if he pays that much money, can kick in some money to do it. You're trying to buy players, you try to buy the best players, and so why not?
Well, it's an interesting diversion of revenue stream, really. That's what it is. Colleges, for all these years, could not pay players. They've had to pay coaches. The better the coach, the more money he was going to command. Now, all of a sudden, they realize, now you got to pay labor, so we're going to take some of that money we were paying coaches, and we're going to go through the coach, and he's going to have to end up putting up some of that money for labor. And it's really, if you think about it, the natural order. But, if you're still the hot coach in demand, that's not coming out of your pocket. They'll figure out other revenue streams, like they're going to start sharing the money. But until then, if you're a coach who's trying to keep his job, you're willing to take a pay cut that way. It's pretty astonishing, really.
Well, I mean, the LSU's case, I mean, they just probably need more money, and the head coach is like, why not do this? I'm in a spot I can do this. I make a great salary. I've made a great salary all my life. I have money in the bank. Why not do this? It should be an example. I think he felt it was hypocritical for him to ask for money from people to donate when without him doing it. I thought he said, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna donate $1 million, and so I hope people donate. So, and they have. And so far, it's off a pretty quick start.
Well, it's interesting to me because we were in coaches' meetings doing prep for the Frisco Bowl, and I asked Ryan Silverfield what he thought about the Tulane quarterback, Mensah, transferring to Duke. I said, what do you think Duke had to pay to get that guy? He goes, probably about $1.5 million. Yeah. $1.5 million.
Yeah.
This is for Duke. Can you imagine what I believe the Oklahoma Sooners just got John Mateer. He was the Washington State quarterback that was considered the number one transfer portal guy. So here's a quarterback, number one transfer portal guy. What do you think that cost?
Yeah, I mean, at least $1.5 million. I mean,
I would say that'd have to be $2 million, wouldn't it?
To get a good quarterback, you could probably go $2 million now. I mean, a proven quarterback.
I'm trying to remember what was the budget that Lane Kiffin laid out, because last year he had the top portal class, right? And he's on his way to doing that again. I'm trying to remember, what was that budget? Was it like $12 million?
I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, you got to have a bunch of cash. You want to get really good players. Fortunately, in LSU's case, they have a bunch of money left over because a lot of high school guys they wanted turned down offers, and so they had plenty of money for the portal. So LSU's been portal shopping and gotten some really good players so far. I mean, guys they wanted to fill needs. I mean,
it's interesting. I used to go by to practice, and you would see where the student athletes parked their cars. It used to be in the old days, you'd see, cars like I would drive or used cars, right? Now you're seeing sports cars, right? You're seeing high dollar cars. And when I saw that one day, it dawned on me, these guys are making real money.
And a lot of them have deals with dealerships too. So, they get like trucks or SUVs or whatever they want. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it really is.
Well, I got to tell you, we passed by the Clemson parking lot for the student athletes going to the game the other day. I could not believe the sports cars. I really could not. I mean, they were $100,000 cars in those lots, and that's just the way it is. That they're not like NBA players, but some of them are making better than two-way players in the G League. That's how much money is out there. And look, I mean, a guy who's making $1.5 million as a quarterback at Duke, he can afford a big-time car. There's no doubt. All right, let's take a little look at these playoff games before we run out of time. Indy at Notre Dame. Every home team is favored by at least a touchdown. Indiana, to me, I know people are going to say they didn't really play anybody. The one team they played, Ohio State, knocked them around a whole bunch. But I look at it and I say, who did Notre Dame play? Nobody all year long, and lost to Northern Illinois, for goodness sake. The Irish are lucky. It's a home game. Indiana probably could get plenty of tickets because they're in the same state. How do you break that game down?
I like Notre Dame in this one. Strictly from the standpoint is they mutually dominate the line of scrimmage with whoever they play against, and they run the ball really well. They have a good passing defense, which is a strength of Indiana. And I think the cold weather really favors Notre Dame. This will be in the 20s. And you play games in the 20s as far as temperature, it makes it hard to throw the football. I just think that's what Indiana likes to do, and that's what Notre Dame tries to avoid. So I look for Notre Dame to win this one. But it'll be a close game. honestly, I think most of these games are going to be close games. I mean,
It's interesting because I hadn't thought about it till you just mentioned it. The forecast for the Northeast is frigid and snow. That could come into play in the Tennessee-Ohio State game. It could come into play in the SMU-Penn State game. Let's talk a little bit about the Mustangs and the Nittany Lions. Penn State, an 8.5-point favorite. I kind of think that one's a right line. It's one of the few I do.
yeah, I do too. I think Penn State's probably played a better schedule. You would think
They did.
SMU's really gutty, man. They don't give up. When they get down against people, they usually they fight you to the end. I think in this game, I think it's an 8-point spread.
It is this morning. That line was 8.5.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
I mean, SMU might beat that. I just think that Penn State has the ability to grind the ball out. They can grind drives and take time off the clock. And I just think Penn State's more physical. They win this game because they can grind the ball. They can grind the ball in the second half.
Clemson at Texas. Longhorns by 12. That line's pretty big. Clemson, the 12 seed. So you think to yourself, maybe that line's right. I think it's high in the championship game. I don't think the weather's going to be that affected in Austin. There is a chance for the Longhorns to get there. I think they win the game. That's a tough line, though.
That's a tough line. I mean, I don't think Clemson. I think Clemson will beat that spread. I just
Yeah.
Clemson's kind of had to come back all year from a really rough start, and they played pretty well all year after that. And they hung in there. Texas has just been so. I think we talked about this last week. I mean, Ewers doesn't play great, and when the games, big games on the line, and so I kind of that always worries me about Texas because I just don't, I don't trust him like I trust other quarterbacks. They'll win. Texas will win. I think Clemson should beat the spread. And every once in a while, Texas gets their act together and blows people away, but it's rare. I mean, it hasn't happened enough for this team, but they kept winning. They except for Georgia, they win. So
how good is Arch Manning? Is he going to be terrific next year?
Yeah, he'll be terrific next year. Yeah, he'll be terrific next year.
Right.
He's an exceptional RPO quarterback. He's extremely fast. He can run. Got a great arm. He's been patient. He's seasoned. I never thought everybody thought he would always transfer out when he didn't play, but they thought Eli would transfer after his first year when he didn't play. And all the Mannings understand that, to play quarterback, it takes some seasoning. And he was willing to sit. And when he played this year, he played really well. So I think he'll be great.
Tennessee at Ohio State. We were talking about tickets with the Notre Dame and Indiana game. How about the way apparently they cracked the code and they've been able to get tickets that Ohio State was selling, thinking they were selling them to their fans. They are selling them to those that will wear orange. Some predict there could be 30,000. Of course, it seats 102, but 30% could be wearing orange at the Horseshoe. And this line is Ohio State by 7.5, and I'm not sure that the right team is favored here. What's your thoughts about Tennessee and Ohio State?
I think Tennessee, Ohio State's got a really good defense, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on Tennessee's quarterback. To me, Tennessee's got to hold down on their turnovers. Nico cannot turn the ball over. He cannot do dumb stuff. Ohio State's going to win the game because of its defense. Tennessee's defense is really good too. The running game is really good.
I think that's the difference in the game. I think that's why I think the line's way too much. And I think if Tennessee figures out a way to run on this team, I think they'll win the game.
And they can't turn the ball over. Because they're going to come after the quarterback. They got a really good defense. They got a good pass rush. They'll come after the quarterback. if Tennessee can limit turnovers and like you said, get a run game, they can win the game. I do agree with that. I do agree with that.
All right, last thing really quick, off of football, because we're going to be talking about that for the next few weeks. I know you love hoops more than anything else. Doug Gottlieb, the talk show host / Wisconsin Green Bay coach, whose team has lost 8 in a row. They're now 2-8, made the comment about playing nobody use, and then went and lost to a Division II team the other day for his 8th straight game. How do you think Wisconsin Green Bay's athletic director feels today about his choice, a guy who's still doing a daily talk show and coaching a team?
Well, I'd say, Doug, either my coach or your talk show host, but you're not both. Because you can't go on the air and talk about your game or other opponent, which I understand the team he played this past game, he kind of really ripped them before the game. So they have like a junior high school team they were playing, something like that.
He said, "Nobody you, nobody
Yeah.
you. We
There
can't.
you go.
We can't keep playing nobody yous."
Okay, well, either he decides he's going to be a coach or a talk show host, but neither one. And so, if I'm the AD, that's what I tell this guy. You know, if you're serious about coaching, you're going to coach. No talk show stuff. Okay, I don't know of any coach in America that has a talk show and coaches.
No.
Okay. I mean,
Well, first of all, it's a 3-hour show. You and I know how much prep goes into that. 3-hour show, plus the prep, plus being a basketball coach, recruiting, everything that goes with that, that is impossible. You cannot do both jobs well. There's just no way around it.
No, you cheat your players. I mean, you're cheating your players in player development and prepping for the next game instead of prepping for a show.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy. Ron Higgins, as always, Merry Christmas, by the way.
Back at you.
And we will talk to you the day after Christmas next week. Thank you much.
Oh, well, take care. We'll see you.
That's our guy. That is Ron Higgins, our SEC historian down in Baton Rouge. He is brought to you by Southern Security. Whether you're a small business owner, even a single mom, how about buying your first home? Southern Security can be your trusted financial partner. And they've been doing this now for 75 straight years. Southern Security, by the way, has been voted the very best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 consecutive years, going on 7. They always, for 75 years, have provided the Mid-South with the most attractive rates, the best of service, and the newest technology. You can join the Southern Security family easily, too. 2 ways. SouthernSecurity.org. Just go to the website. Or what I like to do is talk to a human being, and you can at 901-452-7900. Southern Security, proud supporters of U of M athletics and 901 Women. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. We pause for a second. We'll head downtown in just a minute. There's where the Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer is. He comes your way in a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Want to make this the most unforgettable Christmas? Genesis Time is easy to do.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad, or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
It's a holiday experience like no other. The Light Garden at Olive Branch City Park. It's a walk-through entertainment extravaganza with hundreds of giant 3D Christmas-like displays, photos with Santa, food and drinks, and special event nights including fireworks on New Year's Eve. New this year is a winter-inspired 18-hole miniature golf course. Bring the family out nightly through January 1st. Go to lightgarden.online for details and to buy tickets. Now stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for chances to win tickets to go to the Light Garden.
Imagine a world where animals and humans coexist in harmony, where wild animals thrive, habitats are protected, and marginalized communities are empowered. At International Animal Rescue, this is our vision. Our holistic, community-led projects not only rescue animals, but also protect and replenish precious habitats, creating a better future for us all. But we can't do this without you. Show your support now and help keep alive wild. Visit internationalanimalrescue.org.
John Sadak here from Westwood One. Join Ross Tucker and me for Thursday Night Football this week with AFC West action from Los Angeles, with Justin Herbert and the Chargers host Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Both are still in the playoff hunt, even with the Chiefs having claimed the divisional title. But who will get the critical win? Find out when the Chargers host the Broncos on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Earlier in the program, I was talking about how one player can make a difference. This Dee Hageman, who finally got eligible to play for the Memphis Women. Big story last night, and keeping it really close with a very good Tennessee team. Her name, Dee Hageman, and we were talking about ratios. I said 3-1 by chance. She set the Big Ten record last year with Michigan State, 2.84 assists to turnovers for the whole year, which is pretty spectacular. She's going to make a big difference for the U of M women. Jarvis Greer joins us now. Let's talk a little Frisco Bowl Hall of Fame.
Hey.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I just want to say that, Memphis, the Tiger women really missed Hannah Riddick. She was their best player going into this season. Was a preseason all-conference pick, and she went down with an ACL 2 weeks ago and lost of the year. So, and she's a front court player, so it would have been great to have her.
Oh yeah,
and,
well, they actually the best player on that team coming in was Alasia Smith, who stayed, and She struggled a little bit with Tennessee's height last night, but she's there. They lost their center. They lost Hannah, who was the power forward. They've not had Destiny Jackson, a scoring guard that was good last year. She's been out the whole year. I mean, then this Fulmore kid, the lady that came in, she's been out the last few games. So they've got pieces, and with Hageman. I really believe they're going to be a threat in the American. I think they're going to turn this season around because of those particular pieces. Let me ask you about the Frisco Bowl. Another Power 4 win. 3 out of the last 14 games the Tigers have played, they have beaten a Power 4 team. It's pretty impressive to win 21 games in 2 years. And I want to ask you about the legacy of Hennigan, but let's just start with this 2-year era of Ryan Silverfield.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Let's go with this year because everybody's talking about this year. There have been some who are saying, well, it's a disappointment, total disappointment. You didn't make the conference championship. Yeah, it is a disappointment you didn't make the conference championship, but you win 11 games. You beat a couple of Power Fours, and I don't care, if Florida State wasn't very good this year. West Virginia was a positive in their league, the Big 12. They were 5-4 in the Big 12, and if you look at their schedule, they beat 2 teams that left the American, Cincinnati and Houston, who are in the Big 12 now. They think they beat one by 5 and they beat the other by 10. So you got to think that at least Memphis could finish about halfway in that league, or the ACC for that matter. If you look at everybody else and the way they play, you finish the season ranked in the top 25. That will forever and remain. Memphis will be ranked. Will finish as in 2024 as a nationally ranked team. They led that game, the Frisco Bowl, box to wire. I mean, they jumped out on them quick. Give West Virginia credit. They didn't quit as people thought they might, since they're playing with an interim coach and all that. But their guys cared, and they tried to come back. And Tigers held on and got the win. And Silverfield got the Scooter's coffee fast.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
like coffee.
You really do reek. I got to be honest.
Yeah, man. It's like, ooh, caffeine just walking by him. But no, I think personally it was a great year, but it didn't come out like you wanted. Like, you didn't get the final result that you wanted, but you sure did get a lot of other ones. And comparatively speaking, around here, like Ole Miss was targeted pretty much. Everybody thought they'd be in. They didn't make it. And I'm not just going to say that, point it up, well, look at them or whatever. I'm just going to say that I thought Ole Miss had a great year, and they were very exciting. And they beat Georgia. But, that's just the way when your goal is to be perfect, that is a really difficult goal to make. And coming into the year, the Tigers were picked to win it. UTSA was picked second. Memphis did not win it. UTSA finished, 4th, 5th? But they did make a bowl. They are bowl eligible. They're going to play somebody in postseason. Navy was picked near the bottom of the league, and Army got one first-place vote. And so how did that work out? You know what I'm saying? So, Army got the easiest schedule going in, and give them credit, they won it. Then they get crushed by Navy in the Army-Navy game. You beat a Tulane team that everybody thought was going to be great, and they were really good. Unfortunately, they lose their quarterback. Mintz is going to Duke, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But you beat some good teams. You rallied at the end of the year, and this is the way I look at it. I know I'm talking long here, but your first game, you blow out win 40-0 in your first game, but you lose your most exciting offensive player, Sutton Smith, for the year with an ACL. Okay, you come back, you win some games. Then you go to Navy and you lose one of your top linebackers, Elijah Herring, the Tennessee transfer. He got hurt. Florida State, he did not play in that game. You sure could have used him against, Blake Horvath in that triple option. You lose Greg DeWosier for 5 games there after Florida State because, with a broken collarbone in the effort that he had against the Seminoles down in Tallahassee. Okay, he comes back, gets healthy. All right, you got a chance. Then you lose the guy who was breaking the game open for you at UTSA with 2 touchdowns and 140 yards receiving in the first half on a celebration dance. He's out for the rest of the game, and you don't have speed over the top. But once you start getting healthy, you start seeing the results at the end of the year. And then they go on and they win 11 games. So I credit the program for not giving up the rope after it became obvious that you weren't going to make the championship game. They kept playing. They played out the string, and they finished 11-2, and forever shall remain.
There you go.
11-2.
And as you said earlier, in the top 25. In about 2 minutes, that's all we got left. What will we remember about Hennigan? Here's the guy that threw over 14,000 yards. That's number one, not in the school, but in the conference as well. 104 touchdowns, tied for the best in the American Athletic Conference and the best ever for the school. No championships, but a lot of wins. The winningest quarterback in the history of the school, and he stayed all 4 years. What do you think is his true legacy?
Well, I'll say this. Did Dan Marino win a Super Bowl?
No.
Is he considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time?
I think so.
Yeah. That's what I look at. That's the way I look at Seth Hennigan. You knew what you're going to get with him. He was efficient. He did not make many mistakes. It was like really having another coach on the field. He stayed when he could have gone. I know Memphis gave him, I know they had negotiations and they got more money, but heck, there were other schools that had more money than Memphis, and he decided to stay. And, there's all kind of things going in. It's not just the quarterback that wins the title. You got to have running backs, linemen, DBs, all the rest of that stuff. So I thought they got the most out of his ability. He played great ball coming in as a freshman, even though you remember when he came in, Grant Gunnell was expected to be the starter, the transfer from Arizona, big kid, strong arm, all that good stuff. But as they were going into camp, they said, well, this Seth Hennigan kid looks pretty good. And then Gunnell got hurt, and that was the end of the story. It was Seth's ball game from there on, and he played every game except one. So he got hurt before the UCF game down there. That's the only game he missed in his 4-year career. And now when you look at the all-time records, and not just the University of Memphis, passing records and that touchdowns, there's only one name, Seth Hennigan.
Yep. It was a pleasure watching him for 4
Yes,
years.
it was.
You can make
He's
an
a good
argument
kid.
for Brady White because he set records before that, and he did win a title.
Yes, he did.
You can give a lot
And
of
look at the
credit
weapons
to
that
Pax.
he had. I mean,
Yeah.
he had 3-4 NFL guys on that team,
Oh, yeah.
offensive players on that team.
I'll tell you, Paxton Lynch started this run. Riley Ferguson, you got to put him in the topic of conversation.
Pantheon, yeah, and you got to put Danny Winprine in there too.
Danny Winprine, who was so tough, and then the guy that was throwing to Russell Copeland and to
Steve Matthews.
Steve Matthews. I think
Steve Matthews was a great
personally, he could have been the very best. He was only
Yeah.
here for a short period of time, and I think he would have been a great NFL quarterback had he not been injured in the Ole Miss game on a quarterback sneak.
Yeah,
That's sort of
going
the
for a
rail his career.
touchdown.
But you got to put Steve Matthews in the conversation of the great Tiger
We've
quarterbacks.
had some great quarterbacks
That is
here,
for sure.
especially a
Yep.
great string
Yep.
here these last 4. That's amazing. Just think, University of Memphis quarterbacks that in the last eligibilities of these players: Paxton Lynch, Riley Ferguson, Brady White, and now Seth Hennigan. What a great group of that's a great quarterback room right there.
Is
And then you could
Antoine
possibly add one?
Is Antoine Hill the next? That's what we'll see. Merry Christmas, Jarvis. We'll talk to you day after Christmas next week. Have a great one with your family.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah days. Have everybody just have a tremendous holiday season. Great time to be alive.
No doubt. There you go. The always optimistic Jarvis Greer. That'll do it for us. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Thank you, Darian Newsom, for filling in for Brian Takis. He'll be here. We'll make picks tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.